So good morning students, we are back here again with one more new video. In the yesterday's period we have seen that what is mole fraction, what is molality, what is saturated solution, unsaturated solution, and what is supersaturated solution, right? In today's period we are going to see the factors affecting the solubility for a solid in the liquid and the factors affecting the solubility for a gases in a liquids, right? So let's come here. First see what is solubility. Earlier only we had seen in the earlier period what is solubility. I'll revise it once again. Solubility is the amount of solute dissolved in known quantity of solvent is said to be solubility, right? So my dear students, what is solubility? Solubility is nothing but the amount of a solute dissolved in a known quantity of a solvent at a given temperature, at a particular given temperature, right? So this is what is called as the solubility. I hope that you might have understood this. Okay, now what are the factors affecting it? Right, first we will see the factors affecting solubility for solid in liquid. See, my dear students, there are two cases: factors affecting the solubility for solid in liquid and factors affecting the solubility for gases in liquid. So we are going to see both the cases and we are going to discuss what are those factors. So number one factor, nature of solute. Nature of solute. Now what is the nature of solute? There is one principle in chemistry that is said to be, that is, a like dissolves like, right? Now what does this like dissolves like means? That means a polar solute will get dissolved in a polar solvent. Right? Are you understanding? Polar solute is getting dissolved in the polar solvent and non-polar solute will get dissolved in a non-polar solvent. Non-polar solvent, or we can also say organic solvent. Right? We can also say organic solvent, right? So I hope that, my dear students, you have understood what is the like dissolves like. Like dissolves like means a polar solute will be soluble in the polar solvent, non-polar solute will be soluble in the non-polar solvent. Now what is the polar solute? For example, we can take polar solute as ethanol, or we can take NaCl, we can take sugar. These are all the polar solutes. Now what is the polar solvent? The polar solvent can be H2O, right, which is soluble. The polar solute which is soluble in the water. Most of the solutes are soluble in the polar solvent, that is the water. So ethanol is soluble, NaCl is soluble, sugar is also soluble but not very easily, right, but it also acts as the polar solute. So I hope that you have understood that all the polar solutes will be soluble in the polar solvent, right? Then non-polar solutes are soluble in the non-polar solvents. Now what is the non-polar solvents? Non-polar solvents are also said to be the organic solvents. Organic solvents, we can give the example benzene, ether, then CS2. These are few examples of the non-polar solvents. There are many other non-polar solvents are existing, but these are the main non-polar solvents which are frequently used, right? That is the benzene, ether and carbon disulfide, right? Okay. Now let's see the factors. Second factor, effect of temperature. right? Effect of temperature. So the first factor was nature of solute. Nature of a solute says that The polar solutes will be soluble in the polar solvents, and non-polar solutes will be soluble in the non-polar solvents, right? Now here in this case, effect of temperature, see, when you increase the temperature, the solubility will either increase or the solubility will either decrease, right? So why it happens so? Because there are two kinds of a process are taking place, that is endothermic process and exothermic process, right? As I said, that the solubility will either increase or the solubility will either decrease as we increase the temperature, right? Why it happens? It happens because there are two kinds of a process are taking place, that is the endothermic process and exothermic process. You all know, we have learned this kind of a process in our earlier classes, right? So what happens in the endothermic? The solubility increases with increase in temperature, right? So are you understanding it, my dear students? Endothermic process, what happens? The solubility increases with increase in temperature. What happens in the exothermic? The solubility decreases with decrease in temperature, right? So see, the solubility is getting what? Decreased with the increase in temperature, with increase in temperature. So when you increase the temperature, you will see for an endothermic process the solubility will increase, but for the exothermic process the solubility will get decreased, right? So I hope that, my dear students, you have understood the effect of temperature. Okay, now we can also explain the effect of temperature with the help of a graph by plotting the solubility against the temperature and by showing a different kinds of a graph, right? Curves. So let's see what are those curves when we plot a solubility against the temperature, right? Solubility against the temperature. We are going to increase the temperature and we are going to see what is the behavior of the solubility, whether it will increase or whether it will decrease. So what happens when we take the example of AgNO3 and Ki? They are showing a very sharp increase, right? They are showing a very sharp increase in the solubility as we increase the temperature, right? Then for sodium nitrate, it shows the gradual increase. Are you understanding? See, as we increase the temperature, NaNO3 will show the gradual increase of the solubility. Then there are again two cases, that is NH4Cl and KCl. They are also showing a steady growth, right? Are you understanding the graph? See, we have plotted the solubility against the temperature. So when you plot a solubility against temperature and when you increase the temperature, you will see that solubility will either increase or solubility will decrease. So in all the cases, AgNO3, Ki, NaNO3, NH4Cl, KCl, all the cases, the particular solubility is increasing with the increase in the temperature, right? But what happens with the lithium sulfate? I'll make it little bit bigger. What happens with the lithium sulfate? With the lithium sulfate, you will see that the temperature when increased, the solubility is getting decreased. Same we can take the example of cesium sulfate. See, this is cesium sulfate, this is lithium sulfate. In both the cases, you will see that as we increase the temperature, the solubility is going to get decreased, right? So we have seen what is the effect of the temperature on the particular, whatever the compounds, organic compounds are there, right? So in this particular, the question may be asked, show the effect of temperature on solubility. For 2 marks they may ask you, right? Okay, then what happens with the hydrated salts? Let's talk about the hydrated salts. Hydrated salts. Now what are the hydrated salts? Hydrated salts are nothing but which are containing the water molecule, or they have the water crystallization in them. That is what is called as the hydrated salts. For example, we can take here Na2SO4 sodium sulfate dot 10H2O. See, you can see here it contains the 10 molecules of a H2O. Then second case we can take FeSO4 dot 7H2O. See, here also you can see that it contains the water crystallization of a 7H2O, right? That means such kind of a salts which contains the water content or water crystallization content, they are called as the hydrated salts, right? Okay, now here in this case what will happen when we draw the graph of solubility against the temperature? So here you will see the graph like this. See, right? You are seeing that at first what is happening, this is Na2SO4 dot 10H2O is getting converted into Na2SO4, right? At first when you increase the temperature, the solubility is increasing. The solubility is increasing. A point is reached. This particular point is said to be transition temperature. This is said to be a transition temperature. A point is reached after which the water of crystallization, that is the 10 molecules of a H2O, is being given out or it is lost. As soon as the water of crystallization is lost, you will see that Na2SO4 dot 10H2O is getting converted into Na2SO4, and we can see that as we increase the temperature, the solubility will get decreased, right? Again I will explain. See, as we increase the temperature, at first what will happen? The solubility will increase till here. As soon as this water of crystallization is lost, with the increase in the temperature, the solubility will get decreasing, right? So this is what will happen in the case of this Na2SO4. Let's see the second example. When you draw solubility against the temperature and when you increase the temperature, it will show the graph similar to the Na2SO4, right? And this is said to be the transition temperature. Transition temperature. Here FeSO4 dot 7H2O will get converted into FeSO4 dot 4H2O, right? So what is happening in this case? This is the transition temperature where the 7H2O, or it is losing some amount of the water crystal and getting converted into FeSO4 dot 4H2O. So at the first time or at the initial stage, you will see as the temperature is increased, we will see that the solubility is increased, but at a particular point, that is the transition temperature, we will see that with the increase in the temperature, we can see that the solubility will start decreasing when it loses the water of crystallization, right? Now what is this critical transition temperature? The transition temperature in this case is 61.8 degrees Celsius and the transition temperature for this is 31.8 degrees Celsius. See, this particular questions, they may be asked in the board exam, my dear students. This is very easy to ask. They may ask you that what is the transition temperature for Na2SO4 dot 10H2O? What is the transition temperature for FeSO4 dot 7H2O, right? So such type of a question can be asked in the board exam, right? Okay. So this is the second effect, or we can say this is the second factor. Now what is the third factor? Effect of pressure. So what is the effect of a pressure on solubility? The effect of pressure on solubility is almost negligible. The effect of pressure is negligible. Why it is negligible, my dear students? Because sometimes the question may be asked, why the effect of pressure is negligible? Because solids are rigid and they are incompressible. So we all know, we had studied in the solid state properties of the solid. What is the property of a solid? That it is incompressible. Gases are highly compressible, solids are incompressible. The reason is they are rigid in a nature, so they cannot be compressed. That is why the effect of pressure on the solid in liquid is a very less, or we can say it will be almost equal to 0, negligible, right? So I hope that you might have understood the factors affecting the solubility for solid in liquid. Right? Okay, now let's go for the next one. Factors affecting the solubility for gases in liquid. See, now the case has changed. In the earlier case it was, what was the earlier case? Solid in liquid. Now what is the case? Gas in liquid, right? So what are those factors? Factor number 1, nature of gas. Right? What is the nature of gas? The gases which are highly reactive with the solvent will easily get soluble, right? I am repeating it again. The gases which are highly reactive with the solvent will easily get soluble, or I can say in the other words, easily liquable. Easily liquable, right? So we have learned about the liquable. Liquable means what? Liquefaction of the gas. In the 11th standard we have learned this concept. If you have forgot it, you can go and revise it once again. What is liquefaction of gas, right? Okay, then higher the critical temperature, high will be the solubility. Right? The gases, see the gases which is having a high CT. CT means what? Critical temperature. The gases which are having a high critical temperature, they will be easily soluble. Are you understanding, my dear students? So nature of a gas is the one factor which is affecting. That is, the gas which is highly reactive with the solvent will be easily liqueable, and the gas which has the higher critical temperature will be easily soluble, right? Okay, then next point, effect of temperature. Now how the temperature will affect? Now in this case, gases show the exothermic process. Exothermic process. Gases में कौन सा process होता है? Exothermic. Now we have seen what happens in the exothermic. As we increase the temperature, the solubility will get decreased, right? So this is what happens on the particular exothermic process. As we increase the temperature, the solubility is going to get decreased for the exothermic process, right? I hope so, my dear students, you have understood what is the effect of temperature for gases in solid liquids. Okay, now let's go for the third process. Third factor, that is effect of pressure. The effect of pressure is very high in case of gases. Remember, the effect of pressure is very high in case of a gases. Why? As I told you in the earlier case, that gases are highly compressible, because they are highly compressible, right? So if they are highly compressible, we can easily compress them into a liquids, right? So for this we can take an example of the aerated drinks or a cold drinks. What happens in the cold drinks bottle? You have seen that in the cold drink bottle, the CO2 gas is being filled. So when we open that, you will see that the bubbles of the CO2 gas will come out. So here we can say that the particular CO2 gas can be easily pressurized or compressed into a liquid, right? So my dear students, I hope that you have understood the factors affecting the solid in liquid and factors affecting the gas in liquid. So what are the factors affecting the solid in liquid? Number 1, nature of solute, then effect of temperature, and then effect of pressure. Then what is the factors affecting the solubility for gases in liquid? Number 1, nature of gas. Number 2, effect of temperature. Number 3, effect of pressure, right? Now this particular effect of pressure can be also explained with the Henry's law, right? Further we are going to see tomorrow what is the Henry's law, right? And we will also see the Van 't Hoff's factor and the different kinds of colligative properties. So this is enough for today. Tomorrow we will come with one more new lecture. Thank you very much.